Putting your money where your morals are. We talk about it all the time on the show. It's an ongoing battle. But if you think of it like a battle, it can be a grind. Think of it like this. You get a vote in the culture war every single day. Where you spend and don't spend your money, it's vote. You don't have to wait till next November. You have a vote today. Where are you going to spend money? Where are you not? And we are starting to apply ourselves to this in really wonderful ways in the corporate world. We're starting to make our voices heard. Joining me now to talk about that is the author, Peachy Keenan, has a great book, Domestic Extremists, which I would recommend to everybody. Peachy, okay, Target got some bad news. What's the bad news and what exactly happened out there?
Yeah, their sales are way down. I mean, it's interesting. I thought things would sort of bounce back after Pride Month, after the debacle with the tuck-friendly swimwear and all the, in-your-face pride displays for children's clothing. I thought people would kind of like start going back in July, but it looks like that hasn't really happened yet. Even with, we'll see what happens with like the back to school stuff. But I didn't buy any of my back to school school supplies at Target this year for the first time. And I don't really want to go into a Target, frankly. So let's hope it continues. I think it's really cool.
I think it is really cool that it's continued this far. We didn't get our back to school supplies at Target this year either. And so I think that's a common theme. Are we getting better at having some teeth, Peachy? It feels like we're getting better, but is that just me being wishful thinking?
Yeah, I think it honestly depends on the specific brand. I mean, Bud Light was easy for people to say no to. That was such a mismatch of the marketing with Dylan Mulvaney and the core Bud Light audience, which is mostly, young men. It was so discordant. It's such a dumb idea. So that was really easy for people. Other brands like, Nike, who also used Dylan in some of their marketing, they're not really suffering at all. And I think it's very interesting. I think it is sort of hit or miss. It's not just no one on the right will ever buy a product from a woke corporation again. That's really not happening. It's really case by case. With Nike, it's mostly, young women in their 30s who want to look cool at the gym. They want to look fashionable. They want to look stylish. So here you have like sort of, female vanity, which I am occasionally guilty of also, fighting against, woke corporation, like shopping, moral with like a moral purpose. They're really in conflict. Dylan was also in a marketing campaign for Ulta Beauty, which is like a huge, competitor to Sephora. They sell all the cool makeup brands, all the skincare products. I am guilty of shopping at Ulta Beauty, okay? Despite Dylan Mulvaney being their spokesperson, just because literally there's no alternative, right? There's nowhere else you're going to find all the brands you want at some decent prices, all those services in one place. And as a woman, your priorities are different. You're just trying to like get through your day and like look cute or whatever. So it really is a case by case basis, but I think that it is very hopeful seeing how these big brands, people are really enjoying seeing them suffer. So like, if you feel like it's already having an effect, I think that makes it much more likely that people are going to continue boycotting because it's sort of fun to see them pay for their transgressions. They can't get away with it anymore in some brands. But other brands are not going to really have those problems. Barbie was, woke. It's at Warner Brothers. It's a huge Hollywood production. The screenwriter is a far left feminist. The actors are on the left. But, there's a transgender man playing a Barbie. But it is the most successful movie that Warner Brothers has ever made, basically. Because at the end of the day, people are sort of want to have fun. They just want like the easy path. It's 2 hours of escapist fun. And you'll kind of swallow like whatever the like woke message is just because it actually is, an entertaining movie. That's the problem that the right has. They're not really able to figure out a way to provide cool products, to provide competitors to Nike, to provide, movies that can compete with that yet. It's not enough just to be like unwoke and just to be on the right. Like, here's my coffee or here's my beer. I'm a conservative, buy it from me. That's not enough. People are not really ready to just only shop because they know the owner shares their politics or shares their ideology on gender or whatever. That's not quite enough, especially with young people. I think that teenagers, I've talked to this with my kids. Teenagers think that's sort of cringe, to shop, buy a pair of sneakers based on, who the CEO voted for or whatever. Like to them, that like is totally stupid and they don't even understand that. When I try to explain to them, honey, we're not actually going to Target today. They're like, why? I don't get it. So I think that just for young people, they want to look cool. I mean, those very young kind of childish impulses still reign supreme. They're not kind of thinking long term, maybe the way that you and I are. So we have a ways to go. I mean, one way you can think of it is instead of trying to build new brands, like recreate Target, build your own Warner Brothers, we just have to sort of try to take back these brands that predate wokeness. These are our brands. Disney is my childhood brand. I grew up with this stuff. If we can kind of take these corporations and force them to remove the politics, the problem is solved. And I mean, that is something that we have to work on politically with policy. And I think we can get there more easily.
Let's talk about the ones that don't work, like one you brought up, Nike. Okay, so chicks want to look like dimes at the gym, and ain't no guy going to complain about that.
Right.
But there are a bunch of athletic apparel companies out there. But you're right, it has not hurt Nike. Look, if you're a dime and you want to show off a little bit at the gym, you have options. It's not just Nike, but Nike, they even embraced the Kaepernick stuff. They never got hurt at all, whereas Bud Light gets wiped out. I understand with something like you pointed out, makeup, where you don't have options. I get that. But Nike, there are options, yet they're untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I do actually try to avoid buying Nike shoes for my kids. But then you're like, oh, well, I have to check on Adidas. Oh, no, they have, transgender models too. There's New Balance. New Balance seems to be like maybe a safer place. It gets exhausting, and I think that moms who are just like me trying to make sure everybody has new shoes for school are just looking for a good deal, frankly. I mean, things are so expensive that I think people are just seeing like whatever like the cheapest plain sneaker is, that's what they'll go for. And luckily that's usually not Nike. Nike is way overpriced and I think the quality has gone down. So maybe I think that is what people should look at. But for example, women wearing Nike clothes who want to look hot at the gym. I mean, I'm guilty of buying Lululemon. My girlfriends, my mom friends wear Lululemon. Our daughters love Lululemon. Lululemon, I don't think has had like a transgender model in their women's yoga pants, which are, $100. But women don't care. Women don't care. Women want to look where if you don't have the Lululemons on at Pilates or at yoga or on the hike or at pickup at school, if you're in like a dupe, a knockoff, people will notice. And it's like it's a very female thing. You want to look cool. You want to have the right brand. And that, even though Lululemon they're a far left corporation. They were full Black Lives Matter, posting the black square. They support, they were anti, overthrowing Roe v. Wade. They give money to Planned Parenthood, all that, the whole, feminist package. They support all that, but it hasn't stopped girls from wanting to be like look like a Lululemon girl, someone who can afford to shop at Lululemon. So again, there are no good alternatives. There's Amazon knockoffs, which are fine. I've had those too. But it's just like this sort of brand appeal that just, it speaks to the the inner, vain heart of the average woman. I'm guilty of that also. It's really hard to sort of part us from those habits. And maybe if there were alternative brands that were also cool, that looked great, that were popular, but you kind of want to be trendy also. And every single thing that's trendy is also woke. And that's the problem, Not, the brands that aren't trendy are sort of considered,
Yeah, I forget how much harder it is for women. Like, dudes would never notice the brand of somebody's pants, but of course women would notice the brand. My wife would notice the brand in a heartbeat. I wouldn't know if you made the pants and you're upstairs. I would never know at all. Peachy, thank you so much. Come back soon.
Thanks, Jesse. Bye-bye.
I have great news. If you enjoyed that, I have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to. Whatever I do, it'll be right there on YouTube, so go subscribe today.